Hey YouTube, it's Deesus here, and I'm playing some more Hearthstone. I finally hit rank 3. I'm finally past that hard diamond rank 5 kind of, I guess, bubble where you can finally start working towards Legend. And I've almost made it to Legend now a couple times. I actually ended up making it to rank 1. I've ranked back down. And one of the big reasons why I ranked back down is because I was going against countless pirate rogues, as well as big priests and even shamans, and I decided to go back to my roots. So the very first time I ended up hitting Legend on Hearthstone, I was playing Control Warrior, and Control Warrior is absolutely perfect for this current season and this current meta. And this is pretty much how all your games are going to look. I mean, we've completely locked this game down, and so unless you end up going against something just kind of off the wall, like a Fatigue Druid or some kind of crazy combo, which you really do not see a lot of at this level of play, you are pretty set. And even if you have something like that, we still have, the Mad Duke, and we have also in our deck the Disruptive Spellbreaker along with Dirty Rat. That'll help prevent some of those annoying combos that could otherwise potentially harm us. So at this point, we've won the game. I mean, there's really nothing this Pirate Rogue has in his deck. He just doesn't want to surrender, which is fine because it kind of gives me an opportunity to just really drive home the point of exactly how strong a Control Warrior can be. And this is pretty much exactly what you want to see. I've been averaging so far since I've started, which I've only probably done about 6 games. I've been averaging probably about a 77 to 82% win rate, kind of around there. It's going really, really well. So there's just almost nothing he can do. Let me go ahead and Dirty Rat in case he has anything in his hand. Nope. So yeah, at this point there's just nothing. We're just going to keep on armoring up here. We've got him completely locked down. This is going to be an easy win for us, and then we'll be able to hopefully move on. I don't know if this will put me at rank 2. I think I still need maybe 2 more stars because I actually went down quite a bit. And it was all pretty much Pirate Rogue. Pirate Rogue was just destroying me, which is part of why I went with Control, is just because this is the best solution for probably Pirate Rogue and even Shaman, which after I hit Legend and kind of refine this deck, I'll be sure to do another video where I kind of explain in depth the workings of a Control Warrior and the best way to play them. This kind of showcases basically the general idea. You kind of wait and hopefully bait your opponent into playing all of their really good stuff, and then you just destroy them, which at this point I can just easily wipe his whole board. It's not a big deal. So that's pretty much going to be it for this guy. I'm really surprised he hasn't surrendered. Let's see. I'm not going to be able to get lethal. Otherwise, I would just put him out of his misery. Let's see, 4, 2. Let's go ahead and gain 10 more armor, which is ridiculous. So close, so close. So next turn we'll be able to put lethal on him and it'll be over for this one. I really hope we end up going against another Pirate Rogue. It's going to be awesome. I hope we just keep going against Pirate Rogue and even Shamans until we hit Legend. I think Big Priest we could do okay on. I've only went against one so far since doing Control Warrior. I am a little bit afraid of all of his resurrects. All it really takes is for him to get one that we can't deal with, and it's over. So you have to be pretty careful with that. But we do have a lot of field wipes in our deck. It's just a matter of being lucky. Alright, well, there is nothing he can do. I think it's most fitting to send the ship's cannon into its captain. I believe that is what the Hearthstone RNGesus would want. So you have to appease RNGesus and Hearthstone. So we are going to send the cannon into the captain. I'm going to go ahead and tell them well played. Hopefully he stays around. And we will send the cannon into the captain, and it will be marvelous. Yes. Excellent. That was so fitting. I hate pirate rogues, that I really needed that. Alright, we'll go ahead and okay, so we're but yeah, go ahead, why not? You should be fine. Oh, we'll definitely be fine. I didn't realize we had fatal. Okay, we're going against a Death Knight. He's going to be an even Death Knight. I've actually not seen them use Knife Juggler, but it doesn't surprise me. Knife Juggler is definitely a great card. I didn't see Knife Juggler in a long time, so it's kind of cool to see him in play. It's going to do pretty well. Let's see, I will probably focus on killing his Knife Jugglers. That way I can get some more card draw. We definitely don't want the Jugglers to stick. And we also know that we will heal up 10 once this is completed. I also will be able to dredge and gain armor, so we could potentially have some pretty decent targets to gain a lot of armor. I mean, I would say over half of our deck is going to be over 4. So we at least gain 4 armor. At 5 mana, we can always use Brawl if needed. I don't really think that's going to be an issue. If he throws up a taunt, I'm absolutely going to take out that Knife Juggler, because I mean, that is a concern. He's more likely than not an Unholy. That's typically what I see play as an even Death Knight is Unholy. So I'm certain that's probably what we are up against. Which, the first Death Knight I went against, he actually had some great RNG and was able to pull into his 9 cost that summons all of his corpses. You know, again, terrible with names. And I still ended up winning, even though he had 2 of those. Just because Control Warrior is just that strong. Okay, we are going to get a little bit of armor here. It's also probably just a great card to have in general. He's got some targets we definitely want. I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the card that summons all your stuff back is an odd card. So he wouldn't have been able to have, so he won't have that one, so we should be good on that one. I guess he could have just discovered 2 of them. I mean, that would be something. Surely not, right? I really like, you know, the Decimator. I feel like that one is an underrated card. So we could actually use Decimator and potentially clear his board. Potentially. Go ahead and heal up our 10 here. Go ahead and do this. Go do that. This. I mean, pretty much the objective, I feel, of a really effective Control Warrior is, you know, we really, or any Control deck, not just Control Warrior, we really do not care about the long game, or we don't care about the short game. We care about the long game. And so it really doesn't matter if I'm doing a lot of damage or not. My whole thing is to just survive, and eventually he will fatigue, and we will win. He'll run out of cards, and that's kind of, I think, the main objective. So it is a slow game. It's not a deck for everybody. This is the first type of deck I went Legend with, so I do have a certain love for Control Warrior. I just feel like it fits my playstyle. I think most people will go for a more aggressive deck, just because then if you lose quickly. If you win equally quick. And as you try to climb the ladder, that's kind of good, because it's very frustrating to have a very long game and then you still end up losing. So, what we got here, he's going to summon that, not a big deal. Yeah, let's go ahead and see what we got. Okay, so he is even. He is an even card. Well, that's fantastic, though, that we ended up getting him. I have no complaints there. Very nice. It's actually perfect because I'm sure he's going to try to extend himself here a little bit. And then even if he takes away all of my armor, I'll still be able to use my shield shatter because I can play heavy plate. Heavy plate and the shield shatter will be great. And I could go ahead and play my Devourer, but I might as well since I have Bronzebeard here. Test my luck. I could possibly Bronzebeard my Decimator, but he doesn't have enough injured things to make that as enticing. I really don't have anything that I can use to really injure his minions. Oof, that is going to actually hurt quite a lot. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and gain our 8 armor. Then go ahead and gain more armor as so. And yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Oof. Did not realize he had so much. That kind of stinks. It's fine. That was a blunder. Okay, and we will go ahead and play Renathal. How did he get so much health? I was not paying attention to how he ended up getting so much health. It's pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous. I really need to slow down. I can't tell you how many games I've lost just because I'm just in the zone, just chugging along. Okay. We have heavy plate still. What do we have? We still have the Duke. We could snatch something good of his. Still have plenty of clear spells. Instills it to all minions. Hopefully he'll summon some more stuff. Cast Unholy Freeze. Go ahead and gain a little bit of armor here. Probably gain a little bit more armor just because I'm a little scared. Or to play it safe. Last time I didn't play it safe, I ended up dying to something stupid. So we don't want that to happen. Let's see how many cards does he have. He has 17 cards. He's showing 4 cards in hand. When we took out the main threat, I feel. I'm not sure really what our other main threat would be. But cast costs 1 less. Very cool. Ah, there it is. Very cool, very cool. But that's actually perfect because we are about to eat his hand. I mean, surely we will target that card. It's supposed to be a minion anyway. Excellent. What else he got? So it's the only minion. Showing 10 damage. So he should surely cast a spell then. I would imagine. What sort of spell will you cast? I just realized something. You can actually still quest, because if they played quest on turn 1, then you would have 2 on your turn, and you could coin. Okay, well that would have no effect then. Okay, this is going to be brilliant, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Reborn, pop Brawl. It's going to be big IQ moves right here, guys. It's going to be fantastic. So for whoever out there ever doubts the Grandshield's freaking awesomeness, huzzah. Absolute insanity. Free 9-cost spell. Absolutely nuts. Of course, in this particular case, I don't really think we got anything that crazy, but still, how funny is that? So yeah, there's absolutely no reason not to run a Grandshield in a control deck. I feel like more times than not you will find a use for him. And I'm sure you've noticed that I'm not running like a Steam Cleaner in my deck or a Skulking Geist. And you might wonder, how would I deal against a control deck or a fatigue centered deck that's going to try to outlast me? Well, this card can typically end up whatever spell they cast to sustain themselves, we can copy. Or we also have the Duke where we could possibly steal that. So, like Jade Druid, I'm not really worried about that. We'll have a Jade off. So, I'm not sure what he's going to do. He very well may have just quit. But we have a full board. And even if he ends up destroying a lot of my board, I can just Warpath into Rotface. I actually think we might have it here. After a friendly minion attacks, he won't attack. Yeah, so this is over. We absolutely should have Fatal. Yes, we will have Fatal. Pretty sure. Yeah, we are gonna have Fatal. Barely, but we had Fatal. That is. Hello YouTube, it's Deesus here, and I'm going to give an in-depth explanation of how to use a Control Warrior deck. I've gone Legend before with Control Warrior, and I've played Hearthstone since 2014. Control Warrior has always been one of my favorite archetypes. I'm hopefully going to hit Legend for a second time this season. Control Warrior is fairly simple to use. Basically, the main objective of this deck is to fatigue out your opponent. You basically are going to control the board, remain alive until your opponent has absolutely nothing left. You will completely stall out the game. Now, my Control Warrior deck is a little different than what I would consider the meta Control Warrior deck of this season. I would say basically this season, what you primarily are going to see, at least whenever you hit that Diamond 5 to Legend portion of your climb, you will see a lot of Pirate Rogue. You will see a lot of even Shaman. You'll see some discard Warlock. You will occasionally run against a mirror match with another Control Warrior. You will possibly run against a Relic, no minion, Dark Weaver, Demon Hunter. Probably your hardest matchup, bar none, is going to either be a Big Priest, which you will have fairly often, even though we do have somewhat of a chance against a Big Priest. And then you also will have a Renathal Secret Mage you will encounter pretty often, and that's a very difficult matchup, but we'll kind of go into how to handle each of those decks as well. So we have Shield Slam in this deck. We have several things that are going to help generate armor in this deck. Some of the things we use to generate armor, primarily we have Heavy Plate. We are also going to have the 5-cost Guardian Bloodsworn once we upgrade this. We have our Shield Block. We also are going to have our Lavagorger, which is going to be able to dredge our deck as well. And then we will pick a card. Most of our cards, as you can see, have a fairly high cost. That's going to help us gain armor as well. We have cards such as Rancor here, which is deal 2 damage to all minions and gain 2 armor for each destroyed. And those are some of the ways we are able to gain armor in this deck. We also are going to have tons of things that are going to help us control the board. Some of those things are going to be Man Cannon, which is deal 3 damage to a minion and then 1 damage to all other minions. This is excellent, as well as Warpath, which is an echo card, so we can use this several times as long as we have the mana. We also have Lord Barov, which you've probably noticed in this deck. I am not running anything to give Barov Rush or anything of that nature. I feel like there's just a lot of things that we can use to kill him. Probably my favorite combo with Barov is I'm going to play Barov, and then I'm going to use Warpath and wipe the board. We can also Shield Slam into our Barov. We can also use Rancor if need be, which that kind of defeats the purpose of his Death Rattle. We also have, if we need to, we can use Bloodsworn, the 2 cost to deal 2 damage to it. So, I mean, there's other ways to trigger it. It's really not much of a problem. And I feel like we need all 40 spots of our deck. So that's why, there's really nothing to join him. We have Reckless Flurry. We also have, which is going to deal damage equal to our armor. We also have Rancor, which is 2 damage to all. We have Brawl, a very classic staple deal. We have Decimator Olgra. So this one is really good because for each damaged minion, it gains +1/+1, and it's still going to attack all of our enemies, including the enemy hero. So if they have some pretty small minions, but you're not quite able to kill them, we can Warpath, and then we can send Olgar into them, and that's going to be just a ton of damage. And we also will have Rokara, which we can use to gain 10 armor, and then we can use Shield Shatter. There's also, like I said, tons of ways to activate Shield Shatter, which we don't need armor to use Shield Shatter, but it costs 10 otherwise. We can easily get this down to 0 or a very reduced cost. So the reason we run Sir Finley is, as you can see, it will swap our hand with the bottom of our deck. And like I mentioned earlier, we are going to have cards that are going to dredge our deck. And so whenever we dredge, especially if you are using a really handy deck counter where you're able to see the cards in your deck, it'll also, if you use the one from Hearthstone Replay, that net deck will have the option to look at the bottom of your deck. Where you can see what's in the bottom of your deck, it'll show that. And so we kind of know up front the types of cards Sir Finley is going to grab. And so if you just really need a combo, I mean, Sir Finley is great. Really helps this deck a lot. We run Dirty Rat just because we still will occasionally go against decks that are running combo. Unholy Death Knight is one of them. Unholy Death Knight is going to have their 8 cost card that summons all of their corpses back, and any that can't fit in the board is going to give them +1/+1. Dirty Rat could possibly eliminate that threat. Tons of decks run Bloodsworn. In fact, 60% of decks currently roughly will run Bloodsworn, so that's going to be another card we could cheat out. So I mean, I think it's just a fantastic card. I feel like Man the Cannons is pretty self-explanatory. Warpath. Now Grandshield, which you've probably saw earlier in the video if you've watched this entire video, Grandshield is a card that should never be underestimated. We got really lucky when we were able to play that. We were able to play it whenever they played that 9 cost card, but I mean, we can combo it with lots of other cards. One of the reasons why I'm not running Steam Cleaner in here is, this will also be able to copy a, Jade Golem if need be. It can copy other just fantastic cards. Really, the uses are endless. So I feel like it's a great card. It also only costs 3 mana, so we can use Bronzebeard with it as well and do some really crazy things. We can also copy secrets if we're playing against a secret mage. we could possibly get Ice Block. So I mean, there's just a lot of pretty cool things that the Grandshield can do. If we're playing against Demon Hunter, if they're casting a bunch of really nice fel spells, and we was to pop the Grandshield, that's a free spell that we might have, which I think is great. We are going to run Flightmaster. I feel like Bronzebeard's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into him. We have Flightmaster Dungar. Whenever I typically play Dungar with this deck, I'm going to either pick to deal 10 damage randomly split among all enemies, or I'm going to heal 10. Typically, I'm going to heal 10 just because the ladder is going to take 3 turns, so I like to go with heal 10. Heavy Plate we can use as both a trade as well as to get 8 armor. I think it's fantastic. Even though I feel like for 3 mana to get 8 armor, it's not like the greatest ability, but the fact that it has trade, I mean, that does help. I feel like the trade cards, if nothing else, help you cycle your deck, especially if you're, like we are, without a whole lot of draw power. Prince Renathal, he's got to be there, otherwise he's pretty useless. Reckless Flurry, we've already kind of talked about that. So here's the thing with Reckless Flurry, you really do not want to use this card unless you absolutely have to, because it does end up spending all of your armor. And part of our deck's overarching goal is to amass enough armor that we're not worried about getting lethal to ourselves and we can outlast our opponent. For the Viper, we are playing against Pirate Rogue a lot. This could potentially destroy their Swordfish or other weapon they so choose to have. If we're going against a mirror match, a lot of Control Warriors are going to run, Shield or some other weapons that are annoying. This will help with that, and if nothing else, it's still not a dead card because it is a trade card, and you can trade this and cycle through your deck. Shield Block, draw 5 armor, fantastic card. Blademaster Okani is we can counter either a spell or a minion. I feel like this is just mandatory almost in any control deck. It's so powerful. We've already kind of talked about this card. I can't tell you how many times I've lucked into being able to get either a 10, 8, or 7 cost selected, giving me just enough armor to end up casting Shield Shatter. Then we have our axe here. This is pretty much one of our only draw mechanisms. This deck does need the occasional draw, and that's after your hero attacks, kills a minion, we draw a card. I mean, it's also great because we're going against, like I said, even Shaman a lot, and we're going against Pirate Rogue a lot. So if you take like a cannon, well, the other thing too is like Priest also has an aggressive variant as well, which is Shadow Priest. So, we can attack, those 3 health cannons. We can attack, certain cards we just want off the board, which even Shaman, their totem that ends up buffing all 1-cost minions, we definitely want to take that out, or any totem that's, otherwise buffing other totems we want to take out. So it has a use for sure. Rancor, a lot of times, we're going against an aggressive deck. I mean, this whole deck basically came to be because of all the rogues and even shamans I was going against this meta. I mean, if it was a control-focused meta, this deck wouldn't be as useful. I still think it would be fine. Even against another control, we have a lot of sustainability with this deck. But again, most of our minions that we are going to be killing of our opponents is going to have less than 2 health, and so this is just free armor. Brawl, your hands or your life your life is pretty much in RNGesus's hands when you use Brawl. I would say more times than not, though, this will save your life. Disruptive Spellbreaker, I think, is probably one of my new favorite control cards. You're able to have your opponent discard a spell. This is paramount for destroying people's combos. You do have to get a little bit lucky because it's only discarding 1, but it's 4/5. I wouldn't say it's going to be too sticky because people end up attacking it pretty quick, but all in all, it is a pretty good card. We already kind of talked about Olgra some. The other one is going to be Theotar the Mad Duke. I feel like the Mad Duke is an excellent control card. We can use this to end up stealing our opponent's Jade Golem if it's a druid, or stealing, some of their combo cards. A lot of times people will mess up and complete quests too soon. So say we're going against Quest Mage, you could steal a Time Warp. Say we're going against Quest Warrior, and they get their Pirate card, you can steal that card. There's several times where the 5 mana card, you can steal it. Now you don't get to look through their whole hand, and you still have to give them one of your cards, but you get to look through 3 of their cards. And so even with even if they had 10 cards in their hand, which more times than not they only have 9. So I would say probably 90% of the time you will have a 3 out of 9 chance of getting the card that you want to get of theirs, which is just really amazing, man. That's a 33% chance, and that chance is only better the fewer cards they have. The Devourer, I feel, is another staple card ran in pretty much every control deck. The fact that we can eat a minion in our opponent's hand and gain its stats is just so cool. It is frustrating if it gets countered. Otherwise, excellent card. And I also feel like as far as like playing a hero card, we have a lot of options. When it comes to Control Warrior, we have a lot of options. Warrior has historically always been really good at being a control deck. So even though we have some other alternatives, the reason I go with Valorous so often is we are able to send those minions into our opponent, and sometimes our opponent might have a really big minion, and as long as it's not going to deal fatal to us, we can send that minion into our opponent, and I think that's great. Grand Slam, I feel, is also more useful than our standard hero power. Not only can we still gain armor, can still control the board, but we can also deal 2 damage to face if need be. Deathwing, the Mad Aspect, this attacks all minions, so do be aware of that part. It attacks all, including your own, but is an excellent card. It is more clear. And then, of course, Shatter we've already talked about. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how we play. So whenever you go against a Pirate Rogue, we know that's going to be a very aggressive deck. I would say if you're going against Pirate, odds are it is either a meme deck where they're trying to get a combo off to like 1-turn kill you, or it's going to be Pirate Rogue. I would say more times than not it's Pirate Rogue. I would say 90% of the times Pirate Rogue. And as you hit Diamond 5 and beyond, you will fight Pirate Rogue time and time again. I would say you probably have almost 100% win rate against a Pirate Rogue. You would have to just have really bad draws not to be able to beat them. We have 35 health. That's a lot for a Pirate Rogue to contend with. We have tons of armor. They are going to have a vicious early game. They'll probably even get us knocked down anywhere between maybe 10-15 health, but then after that we are going to bounce back. So whenever you are going against a Pirate Rogue, you want to prioritize keeping cards like Sir Finley to cycle your deck if need be. You for sure want to keep Heavy Plate, any kind of cards. Well, let me backtrack there. You do not want to keep Heavy Plate necessarily if you do not have cards to back it up. If you have Reckless Flurry, or if you have Warpath. Warpath and Man the Cannons is probably our 2 best cards going against Pirate Rogue. Other than that, we would want to look for Heavy Plate comboed with Shield Shatter. Other than that, pretty much all these cards. Rancor is going to be great. So if you have Rancor, if you have Lavagorger, if you have Reckless Flurry, I would say the Viper, Lord Barov, Heavy Plate, Warpath, Man the Cannons, pretty much any of those cards are going to be great. Sir Finley. So as you do mulligans, I would look for kind of those cards, and I would prioritize, Warpath for sure. Something that you're going to be able to, or I would honestly say Man the Cannons is better than Warpath for the most part, because by the time you have 4 mana where you can deal with those 2 health minions, odds are you probably are already getting swarmed, and you would like something a little bit earlier. This is going to be able to take some of his more meaty minions. They do sometimes have a 2/5 drop or a 3/3 drop, or something along those lines. So a lot of 3/3s. which you're also able to take out with Axe. So Outrider's Axe is another one that I would not be too upset about keeping. If I had that in my opening hand against a Pirate Rogue, I would probably more times than not mulligan it though, because I really want Warpath or something that's going to be able to do damage to everything. I would say your strategy for Pirate Rogue is going to be the same going as even Shaman. As far as Big Priest goes, it's a very challenging deck. I would probably prioritize keeping some of your cards that are going to be able to deal with his minions. You're probably going to be looking at cards like Blademaster. I think you should for sure keep, because normally you're at least on turn 4 before they start really just snowballing. So if you can Blademaster and do a spell counter against one of his spells that's going to bring out his big minions, odds are you'll probably get killed by a cheaper spell, but that's fine. But I would prioritize that. I would also prioritize keeping Brawl. I would prioritize maybe a Lord Barov or a Warpath, potentially. So you would kind of look at similar cards, but you know for sure with a Big Priest, you will probably see turn 4, turn 5 before things get really crazy. So if you could coin into the Mad Duke, or later on maybe do a Devourer, because they really do not have a whole lot of minions in their deck. They typically are only going to be running 2 minions, 2 copies of Cthulhu, and then they're going to run, I think his name is Nephelm, where he summons the 2 hands and has Wind Fury. Again, I'm terrible with names, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So those are going to be kind of the ones. Now, if you end up killing his minions, you're hopefully going to be able to keep drawing into your cards to continue killing his minions, because once you kill some, he's just going to keep summoning and summoning. So it's going to be a very hard fight, but one that I think that you can win. If you're going against a Demon Hunter, I really don't see a lot of Demon Hunters at this level of play. I would say probably you're going to go against a Relic Renathal, that's also going to be running Darkweaver. They run Scythe, and basically the deal is they're going to have a bunch of minions they can summon with Rush, and they're going to have a bunch of clear spells, lifesteal. It's going to be kind of similar to an aggressive deck. You do want to be careful, because if you have minions on the board and they are lucky enough, there are some combos that they can do to just inflict a bunch of damage to you. I will probably post a video of a fight that I thought I was going to win and it ended up not working. I can't recall the exact card, but I think it's like Searing Bonds. Basically, whenever one of their minions takes damage, it deals 2 damage to you. Or one of your minions, the marked minion. If the marked minion takes damage, it deals 2 damage to you. So this particular Demon Hunter was able to get 3 copies of it, so he hit my block minion, my taunt minion 3 times with it, and then he ran several 1/1s into it, and that ended up doing just a buttload of damage to me. So you really never know. The other thing that you'll be probably going against is Secret Mage, and honestly on that one, it's probably one of my least favorite decks to go against. I hate Secret Mage with a passion, probably just as much as Pirate Rogue. With Secret Mage, you probably have a higher chance of beating that deck than you would Big Priest. I feel like Big Priest is probably the hardest matchup, but with Secret Mage, it's also a very hard matchup. You have to just really pay a lot of attention, because if they use Counterspell and they have several of their minions on board where they can go face, and you try to clear board and they have Counterspell, obviously you just spent all your mana and now you are dead. You might as well just surrender. So you have to be really mindful of keeping cheaper spells in your hand. Hopefully you have coin. I've noticed my win rates are a lot higher with coin against Secret Mage, because I can at least bait one of their counter spells, because you can almost always guess when they have counter spell. We do have some cheap spells, so if need be we can do that. Against a Mirror Warrior, I mean, really at that point, it's probably whoever draws into their cards first, or whoever's able to get set up to do the most damage first. So I would say, with stuff like that, you want to be sure you're saving like your Bronzebeard to go with your Bloodsworn, because that's probably how you're going to close out the game. Otherwise, they're going to be getting a ton of armor. You will get a ton of armor, and if they have a way to prolong themselves longer than you, you'll be in trouble. So you'll need to save back some of your minions and just hope that you're able to get the upper hand. And that, I think, is pretty much all of the decks you'll probably encounter. Oh, Discard Warlock. Discard Warlock's another really easy win for this deck because Discard Warlock's very aggressive. It's a deck that I've been playing as well. Discard Warlock is still strong, even without Tomb. And whenever someone's playing Discard Warlock, it's going to be very aggressive. They're going to be drawing a lot. Hitting you with a lot of their spells that are going to be dealing, anywhere between 12 to 18 damage in one turn. However, they can only do that a handful of times, and so if you armor up, there's really nothing you have to worry about. They do sometimes have a setup. This card Warlock that I use, the setup I use, actually has a lot of minions as well, where you can use cards to buff your minions on the field. So you might occasionally have to clear board. So I would say with a Discard Warlock, you do want to keep possibly a Warpath. You definitely, though, want to keep cards that are going to give you a little bit more armor, such as Heavy Plate. And you'll probably want to keep cards like Shield Block. And probably even your Bloodsworn wouldn't be a bad one to keep. Outside of that, though, Discard Warlock, I feel, will have a very fast game. And then after that, you should win based on just them fatiguing. And with Druids, I haven't seen a lot of Druids, honestly, at this level of play. Most of the time, they are trying to do some sort of like mill setup where they're trying to make you draw your deck. They're doing like a Jade setup with that typically, and we can beat that, I would say, most of the time. If it becomes a problem, I would swap Steam Cleaner or Skulking Geist. I haven't had the issue really yet. I don't feel like that deck's popular in the meta. I feel like that's more of a Platinum deck or a Diamond 10 to 5 deck. You will see that deck more often. I feel like players at that level use it more, but it's such a niche deck, and it's kind of a meme deck, and it doesn't really do well enough at this level of play. And then the other one would just be like a Token Druid, which I would say Token Druid is probably the best one currently out of Druid. Or I would even say, if not Token Druid, possibly, doing a type of Fatigue Druid. I would say that probably the best Druid deck right now is Token Druid, and anything outside of that, I just don't really see having a lot of competitive play. So I know that's kind of getting a little bit long, but that is kind of how I play Control Warrior, and I really hope to hit Legend with it, and I appreciate you guys watching. The channel is currently up to 350 something subscribers last time I checked. We are averaging anywhere between 20,000 to 25,000 views now. We are averaging anywhere between about 10 and 15,000 views now, and it hasn't even been probably a month in some change. So I really appreciate you guys. My friend and I really appreciate all of those that have subscribed. If you have not subscribed, I would love it if you would do so. We plan on bringing daily Hearthstone and Pokemon content. We post at least one video a day. We'll probably end up posting quite a few videos whenever I have some downtime from work. We are planning on streaming some. We have other games besides Hearthstone that we are looking forward to playing, such as Darker Than Dark. I play a lot of Rec Room as well. I plan on probably making some more Rec Room videos, but I just really would like to hit Legend first. I would say probably most of our videos is Hearthstone. Currently, my friend makes a lot of Pokemon videos. So what I'm saying is if you enjoy watching me game and you enjoy watching my friend game, we will have lots of content for you guys. I'd also be open to playing any sort of game you guys would recommend. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments, even if it's just to know you guys a little bit better. I always respond. Please keep it family friendly because that's kind of the idea of this channel. Is I would like to keep it pretty PG. That way, all viewers can enjoy. I look forward to growing the channel with you guys. If there's something that we can do better, if you have any kind of constructive feedback, I would love to hear that. But without further ado, I hope you enjoy Control Warrior. This is my rendition of it. I will post the deck code in the comment, or not in the comments. I'll post the deck code in the description. I plan on probably making some highlight videos for our short reel, but if you are watching this video, this should have all of it. I plan on kind of doing this, I think, in the future as I have these long play sessions. I'll probably do some edits, make a long video, a deck explanation at the end, because I feel like people are really interested in kind of understanding the deck. And I don't see a lot of people going into super detail with their decks. So this way my video kind of has both, and then I'll have, you know, the individual fights, as well as the shorts that have just kind of the funniest moments or the most outrageous moments, the most rage-inducing moments, or the best RNG moments, and you guys can enjoy. So thank you so much for watching. I love having you as a viewer, and I hope to have you as a subscriber, and I look forward to seeing where this channel goes. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers around our 6-month mark. I'll also be posting monthly updates with the channel, because I obviously am not a professional and I don't really know what I'm doing half the time. I'm sure you can tell by how my videos are edited. You know, I do this all by myself, and this is definitely a hobby and just something I'm doing for fun. But if you are interested in starting your own gaming channel or your own YouTube channel, and you want to try to earn money and you want to try to do all of this stuff, you know, I hope that my channel can serve as kind of, you know, a teaching platform almost, or like a way where you can see, okay, like this guy has started, you know, at the very bottom, no idea what he's doing. You know, he grew his channel, and I plan on having a lot of really good updates for you guys. So really look forward to that month 2 video, where I will kind of talk about how we grew our channel so quickly, and talk about some things I've learned, and some things that will hopefully end up, look, we're inactive, will hopefully save you guys a lot of heartache in the future, because it is a lot of fun. I would highly recommend just doing this, though, if you enjoy gaming, because obviously, you know, it's really hard to go professional. So, and I don't really look to earn thousands and thousands of dollars from YouTube, but this has been a really fun experiment. So definitely look forward to that. All right, thanks, guys. Good night.